Every 4 years, the entire world stops. Wars have been paused for it. Billions of people watch it. Grown men cry because of it. It is the single biggest sporting event in human history, and it all started with 13 countries, a handful of boats, and one man with a dream. This is the complete history of the FIFA World Cup. Before the World Cup existed, football had no global champion. The sport was growing fast across Europe and South America, but there was no way to decide who was actually the best. That changed because of one man, Jules Rimet, a French football administrator who believed football could unite the world. In 1928, FIFA voted to create a World Cup tournament. And in 1930, the first ever FIFA World Cup took place in Uruguay. Why Uruguay? Because they were the reigning Olympic champions and offered to pay every team's travel costs. 13 nations made the trip, mostly by boat across the Atlantic. European teams almost didn't come at all. The journey took 3 weeks each way. Uruguay hosted. Uruguay won. 93,000 fans packed the Estadio Centenario to watch the hosts beat Argentina 4-2 in the final. A nation erupted. The World Cup was born. The tournament grew quickly. Italy won in 1934 and 1938 under the shadow of Mussolini. 2 tournaments dripping in politics and controversy. Then the Second World War arrived, and the World Cup was cancelled in 1942 and 1946. Football went silent while the world burned. It returned in 1950 in Brazil and delivered the greatest upset in World Cup history. The United States, a nation that barely played football, beat England 1-0. Nobody believed it. The newspapers thought it was a misprint. Brazil needed just a draw in the final group game to win the tournament in front of 200,000 fans at the Maracanã. Uruguay scored twice. Brazil lost. The silence in the stadium was described as the loudest thing anyone had ever heard. The Maracanazo, a wound Brazil carried for decades. 1958, Sweden. A 17-year-old Brazilian boy stepped onto the World Cup stage for the first time. His name was Pelé. He scored twice in the semifinal. He scored twice in the final. Brazil won 5-2. Pelé collapsed on the pitch in tears. At 17 years old, he was already the greatest player the world had ever seen. Brazil went on to win in 1962 and again in 1970, the greatest World Cup team ever assembled. Pelé, Jairzinho, Tostão, Rivellino, total football, total destruction. After winning the trophy 3 times, Brazil were given the Jules Rimet trophy to keep permanently. The World Cup has given us moments that live forever. 1966, England, the only time the host nation won the tournament on home soil after West Germany. Jeff Hurst, a hat trick in the final. They think it's all over. It is now. 1970, the save. Gordon Banks denied Pelé with a stop so impossible that Pelé himself said it was the greatest save he had ever seen. 1986, Mexico, Diego Maradona. 5 players dribbled past in 11 seconds for the goal of the century, and 4 minutes earlier, the hand of God, the most controversial goal in football history. 1 man, 2 goals, 1 legend. 1999, France, 98. Zinedine Zidane, 2 headers in the final against Brazil. The host nation lifting the trophy, a country united. 2010, South Africa, the first World Cup on African soil. Iniesta in the 116th minute against the Netherlands. Spain, world champions. The World Cup has always produced shocks. North Korea beat Italy in 1966. Cameroon beat Argentina in 1990. Senegal beat France in 2002. Germany beat Brazil 7-1 on Brazilian soil in 2014. The Minirazo, the most humiliating result in football history. And then there are the giants. Brazil, 5 titles. Germany, 4. Italy, 4. Argentina, 3. France, 2. These are the nations that have defined the competition, the nations that every other team dreams of beating. The World Cup kept evolving. 16 teams became 24. 24 became 32. And in 2026, for the first time ever, 48 teams. The biggest World Cup in history, spread across 3 nations, 16 cities, and an entire continent. Messi won it in 2022. The one trophy that had eluded him his entire career. Qatar, Argentina versus France. The greatest World Cup final ever played. 3-3 after extra time. Penalties. Messi lifting the trophy. A sport finally at peace. 96 years. 22 tournaments. Hundreds of moments that made billions of people feel something at exactly the same time. The World Cup is not just a football tournament. It is the closest thing the world has to a shared language. Every nation, every culture, every background, all watching the same ball. And right now, in 2026, the greatest show on earth is happening again. Subscribe so you don't miss a single moment. Every match, every story, every moment that nobody else is talking about.